Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for taking time out of what I'm sure is a very busy day, especially coming back from the holidays. We wanted to take some time to dive into a topic that has been surfacing now more than ever when it comes to some of the revolutionizing we're seeing in regard to both the B2B and the B2C space. And here at Plative, which will tell you a little bit more about what we do here. But in short, it's focused on helping organizations unify their business from marketing to ERP, and certainly inclusive of e-commerce. And so to join me in this topic, I've brought Jeremy Irwin from one of our valued partners in Celigo to help really illustrate how Celigo solves the problem of connecting all of your valuable customer interactions, especially when it comes to living and breathing on your e-commerce platform of Shopify, and how we can pull all of that critical data into the heartbeat of your organization in NetSuite. But I don't want to shortchange your introduction. Jeremy, I would love if you could give us a little bit of background before we dive in today.
Sure. So as Jeff mentioned, my name is Jeremy Irwin, Senior Solutions Consultant at Celigo. I've been in the integration space for a little over a decade now, primarily all around e-commerce, marketplace, and EDI integrations. So, I have a lot of experience helping organizations scale from selling out of their garages all the way to Fortune 500 companies looking to migrate to best of breed solutions. So happy to be here with you, Jeff, and thanks for having me.
Of course, and truly the star of the show. And our commitment here, this will not be death by slides. We'll tell you a little bit about who we are here at Plative, and similarly, Jeremy will do the same from a Celigo perspective, but then really dive into the platform overall, and then open it up for some Q&A. And so very briefly on who we are here at Plative. And so, as mentioned, we focus all of our time on helping organizations unify their business, marketing to ERP. We are both premium Salesforce and NetSuite consultancy, located heavily within North America, but representation globally here. And so regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of the size of your organization, we have services that can help you. Whether that's your first time implementation of a tool like NetSuite or the integration of all of your critical business applications, we're the firm that can certainly support you across any iteration of that journey. And as mentioned, one of the typical solutions that we're asked to provide is helping organizations connect Shopify with NetSuite overall. And there's a couple of ways that one can approach that. But time after time, we point in the direction of Celigo. And there's a few different reasons as to why that we select, or at least suggest, Celigo as the tool to integrate these two giants between one another. And one of the primary reasons is the pre-built integrations that exist. And so integrations can be overwhelming, they can be scary, and Celigo really simplifies the approach to help bring business users into integration conversations, as opposed to the idea of integrations being something that lives and breathes exclusively with a heavily advanced developer team. And so pre-built integrations like the one that certainly exists between Shopify and NetSuite really helps organizations and clients get up and running with some of the more predictable integrations that one can expect when unifying your e-commerce tool with your ERP. Building upon that is the overall easy to leverage, intuitive UI or user interface that Celigo has, not only for Shopify integrations, but across the entire suite. And so this, once again, really helps lower the bar of who can be involved in integration conversations. And at Plative, what we see is the most successful projects are a deep collaboration between business process owners and the technical team that you have internally. Having a tool that allows everyone to be on the same playing field really just amplifies your ability to find an integration approach that meets the needs of your clients or your team. And Celigo certainly can help on that journey. That being said, it can absolutely scale up as well. It's not meant to be or seen as a lightweight integration solution. We have some of our most complex organizations here at Plative leveraging Celigo. And for those advanced developers, there's a lot of pre-baked tools to make it very easy to manage and monitor the success of your integration, to provide AI suggested enhancements to improve the flow of data from point A to point B, among other easy to access tools to ensure that you're getting the most out of your integration. And one step further, whether that integration is simply between NetSuite and Shopify, or NetSuite, Shopify, Salesforce, and enter another tool, Celigo's got you covered. And so these are 4 of the reasons, at least, as to why we typically think of Celigo when someone knocks on our door and talks about how I can connect Shopify with my ERP and potentially other business applications. But I've already said more than I wanted to today. Today is really about Jeremy and Celigo to showcase how we bring this vision to life. And so with that, Jeremy, would love to kick the ball over to you. If you can tell us a little bit more about Celigo and then show us what you've got.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. All right. So, I figured we'd start off with just a little bit about who Celigo is, right? And Celigo is a next generation iPaaS. And if you don't know what iPaaS is, it's integration platform as a service. This is, the infamous logo slide where you can see a lot of the companies that are leveraging Celigo to automate those business to consumer and business to business use cases. We have about 5 global regions, 700 employees globally. But really, the number that I like to call out here is the 16 billion records that are processed a month. That's not necessarily line items on an order. That's how many orders, fulfillments, items, inventory that we're processing. With that, we understand that everyone has a unique process and business use case. And that's really where those active workflows come into play, right? It could be, as Jeff mentioned, today we're talking about Shopify and NetSuite, but maybe you have additional applications where you'd like to leverage, NetSuite to track cases. We can connect to your Gorgeous or your customer applications that sit on top of Shopify, and it really just builds on those workflows. The last thing that I'll mention about our integration platform is that we have artificial intelligence built right into our error management. And what does that mean, right? Everyone likes to say AI these days, but really AI built into our error management tool is automatically recognizing patterns, right? Seeing that there may be a timeout error when we're trying to pass data too quickly. So what we're able to do is classify those errors and automatically retry those errors so that users aren't wasting time trying to address specific errors that you just have to sit and wait for. As Jeff shown on a previous slide, really what we're focused on today is Shopify and NetSuite, right? And this is, with our pre-built integration, this is really a high-level overview of what we're going to be walking through today. And really, if you would like to expand on this, that's where the platform comes into play. While we do have pre-built integrations like Shopify to NetSuite, we also have the ability to create platform flows that could support many additional things outside of the use cases that you see here. It could be that you're tracking things like abandoned checkouts and you wanted that to reside within a data warehouse. Maybe, NSAW, for example. Those are things where we're able to tie that information from those applications into, your destination application to really get a picture of, the analytics and fulfillment rates, things along those lines. So let's dive in and see what that actually looks like. All right. And typically where we see most of our clients get started on their integration journey is by creating products. Now, you could be creating products within NetSuite. You could have a product information management tool. Regardless of where that item is being created and all of that rich content is living, we have a way where we're able to port that over into NetSuite that really be that system or source of truth. As you can see on the screen here, I have this inventory item that's the Celigo water bottle, right? And this is just a standalone inventory item with all of the relevant information about it. We can see things like the display name, the item name and number, the UPC. We even have a nice image there. Down below, you may want to use the sales description or maybe a web store description where you're formatting that in HTML, right? Where you have some bolded text and bullet points that go along with it. Typically, most organizations will have multiple price levels that they have configured as well. This is really where you're able to drive, hey, we want our e-commerce site to be, the first stop for everyone. So we want that to be, the best price that we offer. And then if we're selling on additional channels or marketplaces, we want that to be another price level. Those are all things that we are able to control right within the integration. You'll also see under the purchasing and inventory tab how you may have numerous inventory locations. You could be fulfilling these products and orders out of your own locations. You could be leveraging a 3PL. You could also be using Amazon multi-channel fulfillment. As long as that inventory information is residing within NetSuite, we have a way where we're able to push that over into Shopify so that you have that true representation of the exact quantity available for sale, really increasing that customer satisfaction so that you're not claiming that you have inventory when you really don't. The last thing that I'll really call out here on the NetSuite inventory item is this e-tail tab. And the e-tail tab gets installed with the Celigo bundle, and this is really what allows you to control the exact channels that you'd like to make that product available for sale on. So you can see I have multiple e-tail channels here, Shopify being the most important in this example, but we also have some sub-tabs down below. This is where we're able to have things like product tags. Maybe you're selling online and in brick and mortar, utilizing Shopify's POS functionality. We're able to support both of those and really write to any of the meta fields or the tags on that Shopify product that you see fit. What that looks like over in Shopify now is that exact same item, just represented in a different way for our e-commerce use case here, right? And this is really where we're able to see how that information passes over from NetSuite into Shopify here. We have things like rich content residing here within the description so that users can modify that and change that right within NetSuite and push those updates over into Shopify. We have one image here, but if you have multiple images, maybe you have front, side, back, and the other side, we're able to pass that information over into Shopify directly from NetSuite. And then you can also see things like the pricing, SKU, UPC, as well as the inventory locations that we have decided to fulfill that product from, right? And if we look at what this looks like within Celigo's iPaaS, known as Integrator IO, at first glance, you'll see a lot of different integration tiles here. And really think of these tiles much like the folders on your desktop, right? Those folders could hold PDFs, they could hold JPEGs, they could hold Excel files. Really, each of these tiles are holding integration flows that are moving the data from our source application into our destination application. The first one on the screen here is Shopify to NetSuite. So when we drill down into this specific integration tile, this is where we're able to see all of the flows that are supported within that integration. In my specific example, I have multiple Shopify storefronts. I'm able to then drill down into those specific storefronts here. And today we'll visit the Celigo SC Demo A storefront. So where we first got started was syncing those inventory items from NetSuite over into Shopify. You'll see that we have multiple flows here that support that. We could do anything from syncing your standard inventory items from NetSuite over into Shopify, or even syncing matrix items over into Shopify as variants, right? Maybe you sell apparel or that same water bottle, but in different sizes and different colors, and you want that to show as a variant. Those are all things that can be supported with this integration. The idea of integration is to really automate, right? Keep things hands off, let it run in the background, and manage by exception. And that's really where you're able to schedule any of these flows to kick off on a recurrent pattern as you see fit. It could be as little as every 15 minutes that you want to sync that item information from NetSuite over into Shopify, or maybe the product team is making changes every Thursday, right? You're able to configure those flows to run as often as you like and schedule those. The other thing that Jeff touched on a little bit was the mapping, right? The UI that we have where you're really able to control the exact information that's going to map from your NetSuite inventory item over into the Shopify product. If we took a look at that inventory item within NetSuite again, right? The sales description here is simply saying the Celigo water bottle 2021. Some customers out there may say, hey, that's a little too vague, a little too boring for me. That doesn't, entice me to buy this product. And that's really why I have this formatted detailed description under the web store. And that's where I'm able to pick and choose the exact data that I'd like to write from NetSuite over into Shopify, right? And within the mapping screen here, this is where we would be able to then control the exact fields that are pushing and pulling for any of the objects that we see fit. Okay. Now, when it comes to inventory, under the inventory tab here, again, we look at some of those inventory locations that we have configured. And with the inventory that we have configured within our NetSuite instance, we have chosen the California and the Florida locations. What we often hear is that, there are times where we only want to show a specific quantity available for sale. And we want that to be a buffer, right? And that buffer could be where we want to show 90% of the quantity available for sale. Those are all things that you're able to incorporate right within the mapping, as well as the saved searches. So the saved searches that are driving what products and what inventory that we're exporting from NetSuite over into Shopify can then clearly be defined right with native NetSuite functionality. All right. Now, if I jump back over into my slide deck here, just to kind of outline what we went through so far, right? We are passing that item information over into Shopify to create new products and update existing products. So any modifications that need to happen, that would happen right within NetSuite and pass over into Shopify. Now, for whatever reason, should you need to create those items or products on Shopify and pass those into NetSuite, while that is not supported with this pre-built integration, that is where you would be able to leverage a platform flow. Once that item and product have been synced over into Shopify, that's when we're able to pass the inventory, right? And those are really going to be two separate flows. But as inventory increases and decreases, maybe you're fulfilling on other channels, you're procuring new products and things along those lines, we're able to update that inventory as well. What we'll touch on next is really going to be, that order to cash process, right? And with the order to cash process, I have another screen that I need to share here. Bear with me one second. That is where we are then able to dive into our order flows. And you'll see that we have a wide variety of flows supported here, right? And when we look at some of these flows, you'll see that a lot of these flows are bi-directional. So for our customer and for our order flows, if you wanted to track unique and distinct customers within your NetSuite instance to see, are they reordering? How many times have they ordered? Should we send them maybe loyalty points if that's something that your organization does? Those are all things that you can then control right within NetSuite. But we also have the ability to sync orders and customers from NetSuite over into Shopify, right? But today, what we'll really focus on is those Shopify customers and those Shopify orders writing into NetSuite. Depending on your business process, again, you have the ability to create unique customers within your NetSuite instance and then create a sales order that is tied to that customer record. That's how mine is configured today. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at one of the orders that were created within my Shopify instance here. So you can see that we have our Celigo water bottle here, ordered by jimbob@gmail.com. We have that shipping address there. And all that information is then set to pass over into NetSuite. When we look at that sales order within NetSuite, what you'll see is that we're passing over all of the relevant information from Shopify into NetSuite. So we have that unique order number from Shopify with the prefix. We have that customer, Jim Bob, being created there. Down below, you can see that we have that Celigo water bottle as the line item. And one thing that I'll call out is, there was also a discount that was applied for that entire order. So in this instance, there was a cart discount for that full amount of the water bottle. If we were to jump back into Shopify, we can see how that discount shows. And I'm just tracking that as a cart discount within my NetSuite instance. The shipping information is all passed over as well. So your shipping method, your shipping cost, the exact ship to address information, as well as the bill to information would all pass over. And you can also see this e-tail tab. The e-tail tab, again, is going to house that Shopify rich information. So the unique order ID that is present within the URL of that order, the exact channel that order was placed on. And if we were to look below within the Shopify subtab, that's where we can see unique discount codes that were applied, the exact storefront that order was placed on, and then any risk rating and analysis that has been performed by Shopify can pass into NetSuite and really control what you're doing with that order, whether you want to set that to pending approval, pending fulfillment, based on that analysis that Shopify would do there. All right. At this point, again, based on your business process, this sales order could be passed over to a 3PL. You could fulfill in-house. Maybe you're using a shipping solution in-house as well. As long as we have that item fulfillment record created within NetSuite here, so if I create this item fulfillment record, this is really where we're going to pick up that information from NetSuite, the exact items that were shipped, how they were packaged, the exact tracking numbers. And if we were to look at the ETAL tab on this, what you'll see is that, we have these Boolean fields or checkboxes where we're making sure that once we send this over into Shopify, we're marking that as that fulfillment being exported. So we're not sending that customer the same "your order has been shipped" email numerous times. Okay. Very similar to that order flow that we looked at, the fulfillment flow is also bidirectional. And what we've heard is, there are some shipping solutions out there that connect directly into Shopify. And maybe you're using that for rate shopping or something along those lines. And if it's automatically updating Shopify with that fulfillment information, that's great. But the source of truth or that system of record being NetSuite needs to house that fulfillment information so that you're able to deduct inventory. You're able to see exactly what that tracking number was without accessing numerous systems. So we also have a bidirectional flow here that you would be able to leverage, whether you're fulfilling within NetSuite or within Shopify, to sync that information over into that other system. All right. That takes us to our billing flows. And when we talk about billing, right, typically Shopify customers are entering in their credit card or their gift card information at the time of sale. And what you do with that information really depends on your business process, whether you're capturing at the time of sale or if you're authorizing at the time of sale and capturing post-fulfillment. Regardless of that process, we can support you there. And that's really where these two middle flows would come into play. So we have the ability to automatically bill those orders within NetSuite. So instead of having users go in and click the bill button on every single transaction, we have the ability to convert those sales orders into a cash sale or into an invoice. The one flow at the bottom here is actually set to kick off when that order is syncing over into NetSuite. So when that Shopify order is placed, we generate the sales order. If you'd like, we could also create a customer deposit within NetSuite. That customer deposit just acts as a placeholder for that advanced payment made by the customer and then lives on the books as a liability until those goods are delivered. So if we jump over into my slide deck again, this is where we're able to see things like capturing at the time of sale. And whether we're billing before fulfillment or billing after fulfillment, you also see point of sale down there. We can support these use cases. That customer deposit just acts as a payment against the invoice, right? But if you're authorizing at the time of sale and capturing post-fulfillment, that's where we would need to write that information back over into Shopify to actually say, we need to grab that payment information now. So both of those are supported here. And that's really where this NetSuite billing to Shopify billing flow comes into play when we're writing that information back over into Shopify to say, now we need to capture payment because we've fulfilled that product. The last two flows that we'll touch on before getting into reconciling things are cancellations and refunds. Now with cancellations, this is also a bidirectional flow. Cancellations are for full order cancellations. So maybe I logged on to a site and I said, well, wait, I found a better deal on that. I want to cancel my order. Or maybe I input the wrong information. I want to cancel the order. Those order cancellations can reside within either system and sync over into that destination application. So if your customer service representatives are working out of Shopify, they're able to cancel orders when they receive the phone call right within Shopify. and have that information right over into NetSuite. So then the warehouse or fulfillment team knows that they should not fulfill that order. On the other hand, maybe there's individuals that are working out of NetSuite and they don't have access to Shopify. They have the ability to cancel those orders within NetSuite, and that cancellation just syncs over into Shopify, marking that order as canceled. Again, this would be for full order cancellations, whereas refunds are going to be for if you're looking to maybe refund a line item, refund an entire order. We have a bidirectional sync where you would be able to have users start that refund within NetSuite, syncing that over into Shopify, or have that refund initiated within Shopify, where we would then look to generate either a customer refund or a cash refund within NetSuite to really, offset the amount, the totals of those orders. With the refunds as well as, the customer deposits or the cash sales, that brings us to our payout. In the payout today, we'll mainly talk about Shopify payments, but this is where you would be able to then have that payout report that you receive. I typically see it on a nightly basis, if not every other night. But this is really where you're able to have that payout report from Shopify automatically reconcile those transactions within the ERP. And that's really, where we look to automatically pull that information. And again, you'll see a lot of different payment gateways here, like PayPal, Stripe, Shopify payments. And again, they release those reports on a nightly basis typically, where we're able to retrieve those reports in an automated manner and then match up against those customer deposits, those cash sales, cash refunds, and customer refunds, reporting on any variance, reporting on the fees that those processors may take, right? I think last I checked, Shopify takes, a 1% or 2% of all sales. We're able to report on that and have that live on the bank deposit record within NetSuite. So you can truly see the amount that is hitting the bank account. You're able to pick the exact account that impacts for the fees, for the bank deposit, for your variance. With those variants, you can then drill further down into those, right? And when you drill down into those variants, that's really where you're able to see what went awry. Maybe for whatever reason, tax was calculated when it shouldn't have been. Or maybe, I'll pick on Jeff. Jeff went into my NetSuite instance and deleted out a customer deposit for whatever reason. We were unable to find it. That's where we would report on those variants so that you're able to really see the amounts that are hitting the bank versus any transactions that might have gone missing or might have been deleted for whatever reason. Last thing I'll follow up with here is, really, we talked a lot about Shopify today, Shopify and NetSuite. This is a picture of what we're accomplishing for other clients, right? And it could be Shopify to NetSuite, and that's typically where we see most of our clients get started. But as the business grows, as you start to get maybe into more brick and mortar retailers, selling on marketplaces, leveraging return applications like a Loop return or a Happy return, that's really where we're able to kind of bridge the gap of all these different applications that you see here and tying those into really that system or source of truth being NetSuite. Again, most clients get started with that e-commerce side of the business, making sure that the order to cash process is being automated. And then, kind of tailing into maybe marketplaces, working with their 3PLs, starting to automate, ads and automating return on ad spend with data warehousing and analytic applications. Those are all things that we are very accustomed to here at Celigo and Plative as well.
Awesome. Jeremy, thank you so much. One of the questions we typically get, if you don't mind me asking, is we have organizations that are beginning their e-commerce tool exploration. They might be using something like a WooCommerce, for example. So would love your take in regards to one, Shopify's advantages, and then how Shopify and Celigo is really a winning formula for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had numerous conversations with multiple e-commerce agencies that are really responsible for designing the front end, right? And WooCommerce was a great solution, and it still has its advantages, but Shopify has really taken the leap and they are the front runner in all things commerce. With Shopify, you're not only gaining ease of use, much like you get with Celigo, right? Ease of use, but you have the power of this robust e-commerce tool that can really do anything that your organization's looking for. It could be as simple as, we want our products page to look like X, Y, and Z, right? You're able to format that with different meta fields, with their theme editor. If we're talking about design, you're really able to drill down into the exact requirements of that site, but then automating the business processes behind it, you need ease of use with that as well. Because not everybody that works in accounts receivable is going to be an e-commerce expert. So having that ease of use within an integration or automation solution is really critical for all e-commerce organizations, so that they're able to have those orders and payouts and fulfillments really syncing in a nice, clean way.
Yeah. And not too long ago, I did a similar webinar with Celigo and how to choose the right iPaaS solution for NetSuite. This challenge of unifying Shopify and NetSuite, as mentioned, is a common one. What about Celigo, in your opinion, makes it a differentiator versus using another tool or even considering a point-to-point integration? Why Celigo, in your opinion?
Yeah, great question. And I could probably go on all day about this, but a few that I'll say is definitely the ease of use with our pre-built integrations. But even outside of those pre-built integrations, just having the ability to create flows, as needed, it is great, because again, NetSuite's going to be the hub in this example, but having that information right into NetSuite. Maybe it's not sales orders that you want to generate. Maybe you want to have some information hit a custom record. Those are all things that you're able to leverage with our platform, but it's also the predictability of our costs, right? Mm-hmm. We're not going to charge you for each line item or each order that you're passing through the system. I come from an EDI background where every transaction that goes through the network, you're getting docked, 25 cents or 50 cents. And as the volume grows, you're really not penalized, but that's eating into your margins, let's say. And with our pricing, it's really based on endpoints and flows. So Shopify and NetSuite being an endpoint, and then the flows being passing an order from Shopify into NetSuite. It's very predictable. Whereas there's some other automation integration providers out there that will look at the volume that you're passing through their solution.
Yeah. And I've got one more question before I let you go.
Sure.
I'm sure there's folks here thinking, how do I get started? So I have Shopify. I maybe have NetSuite. I might be evaluating NetSuite. I might have another ERP for that matter. Yeah. What are the steps towards developing and let alone executing the integration strategy, in your opinion?
Yeah. What I typically say, and we do this a lot for prospects that come to us and current customers, get a rough idea of the business process that you're trying to solve for. I always joke that data is just data, right? It's letters and numbers, but what are you trying to do with that data? What processes are you trying to automate? I learned, in one of my first roles that, hey, I understand the technical terms of all this stuff, but what does it mean in the real world? And having an understanding of, well, once we get that order into NetSuite as a sales order, what's our process after that? And typically it takes multiple departments to figure that out. It could be, the warehouse team that needs to step in. Well, we first pick, then we pack, and then we ship. There could be, multiple versions of that. So it's really identifying the exact business processes that you're trying to automate. And then we're able to tailor, the integration solution specifically to your business process, instead of trying to have your business processes fit into our integration, which is really what you see a lot with point-to-point integrations and things like that.
Insightful. Yeah. And I can't relate more in regards to cramming an approach based on things you've done historically versus maybe thinking differently in regards to where are we going versus just recreating the past. And I think introducing a tool like Celigo, let alone just trying to bring your integration strategy to life, it takes an audit And it also takes honesty in regards to, are we doing things because we've been confined to our tool? And that's why we're executing our sales order in such fashion, or whatever business process area. And so I think this has been helpful in just showing and illustrating best practices, and best practices that Celigo is baked into the solution to really lower the bar for everyone to be a part of the integration strategy. So Jeremy, I just want to thank you for carving time here before the holidays. And for those of you that were able to attend, hopefully this was certainly helpful. You can get in touch with us here at Plative. Just go to our Contact Us page, and we'll be sure to reach out as soon as we can. And the same could be said for our friends at Celigo. But enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for carving out some time to meet with the team.
Thank you, Jeff.
Awesome. Thanks all.